Do you sometimes think that it's impossible to find love anymore? Do you feel like dating online is like the darkest hour, right? Do you feel like, men and women are just so different and we just can't seem to connect in this modern time with like all the feminism and the misogyny and everybody's against each other? And it just feels so hard to meet someone good and to like really connect. Well, if that is you, this episode is for you. So, if you have been following Hot Topics Live podcast special limited series, Dating After Divorce or a Long Term Relationship, you will know that I have been on this journey of meeting lots of men and dating a few of them and having no success. So, that's changed, by the way. I have news for you. Anyway, I want to tell you that sometimes we just get our signals crossed. And sometimes we need the help of someone of the opposite sex to sort of help us in our journey to finding love. And today we're going to talk about if it's possible to find love on a dating app and to build a relationship in this difficult modern time, especially after you've been in a long-term relationship and you want to get back out there and you want to experience this, all the beauty and magic that goes along with like falling in love again, right? We all deserve that. So today I have been promising that I would bring on someone really special, a very special gentleman to come and express his opinions. And because, most of you guys watching this right now, I would say about 60% of you are men. And so while I love you, I think sometimes you might need a little help. And I know the ladies need a little help. Sometimes I need a little help. And I'm here to help, but he's also here to help. So I think you're going to love this. Okay. We're not always going to agree on everything, I'm pretty sure. But I think having both perspectives is incredibly important, right? Don't you? So I want to tell you all about him because he's amazing. His name is Fouad, and he is an influencer on Instagram. He is a photographer, and he's incredibly talented. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring him on and let you meet him right now. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here.
Me as well. This is new to me, so I appreciate you having me on board, and I look forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, me too. So here's the thing that people don't know, the little backstory is that we actually met last summer and became really good friends. And I'm really happy about that because I'm really happy about it because you're awesome and I love knowing
Well,
you.
we've definitely started discussing dating. We've been discussing it for quite a while, through Instagram, and that's how we came to be here.
Yeah, so don't ever let anybody tell you that somebody sliding in your DMs is not a good thing.
That's true.
Because we've had
Very
some
well.
really good conversations via DM on
We
Instagram.
have, we have.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, I know that you have said that you have, after a relationship, decided to put yourself out there and push yourself to date and like online and in person. And as a man, what was that like for you, like having those experiences?
Um, well, I do consider myself an old soul in the fact that I wish that we weren't in 2025, and I wish that dating was a lot different. We can go into that further later. However, yeah, so when my last relationship ended, after 4 years, I had to, put myself out there. And of course, the easiest, most convenient way is, this computer that's in your pocket with an app on it that
Mhm.
that now you can scroll through people. And it's not even one app anymore. Now it's like 4 or 5 different apps. You know, I mean, you have the popular ones, of course, that everybody knows and uses, and it can be extremely stressful from a man's perspective, due to a lot of these apps are the ratios are always very male heavy, and so I I I'd like to think, or at least I think from my perspective, that there's less women on those apps than there are guys, and the ratio of, and I don't know what that ratio is, but it is a lot. You're competing with a lot of men. Let's just say that you are competing with a lot of males on there. Algorithms on those apps, and this is not anything I'm saying that's new. I'm sure your listeners know this, especially if they're a guy. You know, the algorithm does not favor them. Um, and whether the algorithm favors women or not, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But and you can tell when you use these apps that there's something fishy there. Something is not adding up. And then you add in other factors, like there's a lot of fake scam accounts that are on there that
Mhm.
are, kind of baiting you to scam you, or a lot of, what do you call it? Just dating scams. And actually, I just recently discovered a whole YouTube channel on people falling for dating scams, and I found it very
Catfishing is
interesting.
real.
I deep dived into that. I was watching all these videos. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe, but it does have a psychological effect on people. And they do prey on people who are desperate out there, looking for a relationship, and so they do prey on those people. Um, Sorry, what was your original question? I feel like I've rambled on.
But it's good though, because it's true. There's a lot of catfish out there. And the algorithm really doesn't, I think, favor men. As a woman, I started dating and I decided to I'd kind of sort of went on to Hinge a few times the year prior, but I didn't really start looking to really meet anyone until last April, actually a year ago. Um, and then I talk to a lot of men, and I often wonder if men get that many women, because it's like, do guys get, if you get that many people approaching you as a guy, I can imagine why it's so easy to just ghost women and or just drop them after you've had a few dates with them, because there's always someone else that's in your inbox, you
And
know?
that's the toxic side of the dating that I think been created for the dating sphere, is that it is easy for people to just, well, can I do better? Can I do better? Can I do better? And this is
Mhm.
both for male and female. This is not a, it's not a, you know, directed at any gender here. Both, it does have that effect on you where, let's say you match with somebody, and I'll be guilty of that too. Like, I've matched with somebody, I'm like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. Like, do I want, because your time is precious.
Mhm.
Life is expensive. Dates are not cheap. So you're gonna take the time. You, as a guy, you're gonna spend the money. You're gonna go on a date. Now, do you really want to put your chips in this basket? Let's put it that way, right? So you're like weighing that, and women are doing the same thing.
Mhm.
Like, from women's side, I'm pretty sure they're thinking like, okay, do I want to waste my time? Do I have other things to do? I think it becomes toxic when you have toxic people who don't care or have no regard for other people's time. It's one thing to match and not really continue a conversation and maybe just have them there back, because nobody knows, nothing's moved on, nothing's happened. But it's the people that will make arrangements, set up a date, set up those times, and then they disappear. It's like, well, why did you do all that? Because now you've
Mhm.
had me set up that time. So I'm like, from me, I could never do that to somebody. I could, I would follow through. Even if I change my mind about them, I'm still gonna show up. I'm gonna, because one thing I learned about that, and I dated a lot of women in the year, and we've talked about this, like I think I broke a record of how many dates I dated in a year, and it became actually a sport for me. Now I know
Ooh,
that's bad to say, but I was like,
I love
okay,
the honesty.
let me just start, let me see what's out there. It was what I called my year after breakup, and I just wanted to see what's out there. That there wasn't, and it wasn't like I wasn't dating with intention. I was, but things would fall apart, and I'm like, okay, well, on to the next one, and then I just date, and it was any opportunity I had to go out, I took it. So there was no like, oh, okay, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out. No, I just took it. Um, and so if I committed, I committed. Because I could never do that to somebody. So
I love that you were honest about how it was like a sport. For me, it's not that different though. For me, it was like an experiment. That was like my mindset. Like, okay, well, I'm going to have this experiment and I actually, what I did a lot too was like watch a lot of these TikTok influencers and dating coaches on YouTube and Instagram and try out some of their methods and see kind of what worked and what didn't work. A lot of them don't work, by the way.
no,
They
they don't
work for me.
work. It's not a. It's
So,
not a. There's no magical thing. It's the best advice I can give. If I'm here to give any advice, if you're a gentleman, um, you have to that picture of you on that app, your profile is it. Like that is your first impression, and if you don't present yourself in the best image, you've already lost there. You've lost. You're competing with all these other men. And it's amazing because I've sat with women and they've scrolled through their apps with me. So because I wanted to see from a woman's perspective what they see. And I was horrified. I was horrified. I was like, there's no way.
it's
And
so
I'd look
true.
at some of these, I would look at some of these profiles that these guys have, and I'm like, what makes you think that this is going to be attractive? And I'm sorry to be harsh, but it's like, what makes you think it's attractive? The whole point of this is to be attractive. And these people don't know you. None of these women know you. All they see is your face and your profile. And if you don't even have your best foot forward there, how do you expect to land on the date? That's the first thing, because that's the first thing that they're going to stop somebody's tracks, right? As they're scrolling. And then the next thing is they're going to read your profile and see if, okay, does this person match me? Are they interesting at all, right? And then the third phase is, okay, let's have a few chats back and forth and see where this goes. And so, yeah, it was pretty, and this is not to say when I'm scrolling through women's profiles, like sometimes I'd see profiles, I'm like, why? Like you're on this trying to, and it's rare. Like it's more for men. Men are worse at it than women are, but there will be, female profiles. And I'm like, and this has nothing to do with me not being attracted. No, I'm talking about specifically just speaking objectively here, just the profile, like how, it's
Mhm.
presented. And I feel bad because I just want to like grab them and say, hey, this is what you need to do. Like you got this wrong. Let me help you, because you've lost me just on maybe it's a certain gesture, like I have no idea why any guy would think that throwing up your middle finger in one of your photos in your profile, like that would be attractive. Like, like these are things that like that's great with the boys and great with that you know your audience, right? If you're attracting a girl or if you're attracting a guy, you have to put something there that's going to be attractive. Now, and we can argue all day what is attractive and what is not, right? Because that's beauty is the eye of the beholder. But
Mhm.
I'm talking specifically about presentation. Okay, how you present yourself is what I'm
Facts.
speaking about.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so one of I think there's like 14 episodes in this like dating after divorce limited series I'm doing. And one of them, I think it's the second or third one, was like, would you date you? Like, and I talked about that. I'm like, the profiles that I see sometimes are so sad. Like, it's just like, oh my God, what are you doing? I don't see women's profiles because obviously I date men. And the thing you said about throwing up your middle finger. Well, I will tell you, there are some women who will find that attractive. It just depends on who your target audience is, right? Like, who are you trying to attract? And for me, I'm kind of old fashioned, so I like the gentleman. Like, I like, and I love this that you said, like, it's expensive for men dating.
Yeah.
And so you have to be like incredibly selective on who you're actually going to take out on that date, because I do expect a guy to pay for me, like, on the dates. And it's not to say that I am firmly not a 50-50 type of girl. I am fully old fashioned, but I'm also modern with it. I'm not like, I've been a trad wife. I'm not a trad wife anymore. I do value partnerships, but I do look at it and like, what is that 50-50? Like, for example, you might take me on several dates, but at some point, like the fourth or fifth date in, I'm going to be like, I want you to come to my house for dinner. I'm going to cook for you, right? And I'm going to get all the groceries and I'm going to get the wine or whatever we're drinking. And I'm going to have a dessert or bake a dessert. And I'm going to put sweat equity into that connection, right? And so I think that's valuable too. So that's what I mean about like, I don't look at it like 50-50. I look at it like a joint effort. And I think in the beginning, guys do have to be selective because it is expensive. And I also said, if you can't afford to be dating, don't be dating. I said what I said.
I yeah, I've mixed opinions on that. So me personally, I would never first date. That's me, because I feel like I'm the 99.9%. It's me who's initiating the date. So I'm a believer in who initiates the date pays, but also um, in the odd chance that I get asked out, I'm still gonna feel like I should be, the date's on me. But that's me. However, this what you said calls back to a bigger societal, and we've talked about this, the issues of equality, and men are confused. Men are super confused because a lot of men, and I don't blame them. Okay, I don't
Mm-mm.
blame a guy to go, okay, wait a minute. Then why is this not 50-50? Why are we not equal here? Or what do I get out of this? And why is it always me having to pay? And I get that, but to that I say, listen, first date, suck it up. It's on you. Remember, if you're a guy and your goal is to go out with this girl again, put your best foot forward. And your best foot forward is classical dating. I know that classical dating is gone, but that chivalry, and no matter how much women can scream feminism all fucking day. I'm sorry, did I do that?
You
Oh, I
can
am so
say that on
apologetic.
this
I can say
podcast.
that.
I'm a
Okay, I'm so
sailor,
sorry.
as are
You
you.
can say that all day.
We're some sailors on here.
In the end, a woman's gonna want a man, and it's not about the money. It has nothing to do with that. It's subconsciously showing that, hey, this guy's got me. He can take care of me, right?
Yes.
Now, do I, as a guy, look and see and test a woman to see if she reaches for a wall, or she even suggests? Now, I would never allow her, but that is something I look forward to. Like, I look for that. I look for cues. Like, to me, it makes me happy when I'm on a second or third date and she's asking, hey, do you want me to get this? Or, hey, I got this. Like that, because to me it shows, hey, this person is kind of an equal to me. Now, my girlfriend, she's cooked me dinner numerous times, and I like that. I also like to treat her out and take her out to dinner, and so it becomes a thing. As a man, it should make you proud that you're treating your girl right. Now, yes, it should be reciprocal, but her treating of you should be in other ways. There's other ways that she's gonna return the favor
Mhm.
of treating you. Um, so I would say, just like, guys, don't get hung up on the whole payment thing. You're gonna reach for your wallet, like, suck it up. It's just the way it is. And yes, you're right. Dating is expensive, and if you can't afford it, don't. But also be selective. And that's just the way life is now. Going out to dinner, I mean, it's like a down payment on a house these days.
It's so true. It is. It's not a joke, okay? Like cooking at home
Right.
though too, like the cost of
Right.
eggs, God.
Right.
Like
They've
gone are
gone
the
down.
days.
Eggs have gone down.
Right, like,
I got my 60 count for $21 a couple days ago. So,
oh my
yeah,
God. So it's like gone are the days of me baking as a surprise for my boyfriend, right? Like maybe we'll
right.
see. I
Um,
can afford it. So anyway, the point is I think it's really critical what you're saying there too. And I mean, for me personally, like I'm never like so if you and I, oh wait, let me back up. First of all, shout out to Audrey. Hey girl, hey. Second of all, second of all, big love. Second of all, um, I'm never going to reach into my wallet. We would never have made it. Okay, but I do offer to get the tip, and I do expect. I'm just real tea here, and I do expect my date to tell me not to worry about it. Okay, but here's the other caveat to
oh, so
that.
you're testing the guy there. That's your test.
So, and then here's a caveat to that. I am a very generous girlfriend. So I like to go on trips and I like to take my man with me. And so there are going to come times where I am going to pay for stuff. I'm not saying that I'm hey, no tea, no shade. If you're like all provider, I pay for nothing, like this man provides for me. That's do you, girlfriend. But for me, and also Selena Gomez, we feel like sometimes I'm going to treat my man, especially if he's really good to me, like he's amazing to me, then, and it's been over time, then there are times where I'm going to go, let's get a cabin, or let's go to the hot springs and stay there and let me take you on a trip for your birthday
See, you're
and
reciprocating.
that
You're
kind of
just
thing.
reciprocating in your own way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's still reciprocating. I think it's the problem when there is no reciprocation. I think guys get um, upset, or women get upset too, because
Mm-hmm.
women could put in their heart and soul in something into a relationship, and they feel like they're unappreciated as well. Um,
Totally.
I think that a lot of men also, and this doesn't get talked about much, but I think a lot of guys don't feel appreciated. I think they do things and it's because it's taken for granted, like, oh well, you're the guy, you're supposed to be doing that, but they don't get that pat on the back,
Mm-hmm.
like they don't get, hey, wow, this guy's actually doing this for me, or he's doing so. And so guys kind of give up, and if they're not feeling appreciated, they're not going to continue doing that. And I think that's just normal human nature. Like, you're not going to continue doing something if you're not feeling appreciated for it and taken for granted. Um, so yeah. But how do you get to the date off the app?
Okay, so that's a good great question. Now you're asking the questions. Okay. Like, okay, that's a good one. So I mean, it's really hard sometimes. I mean, I am very good at talking to people, obviously. And so talking on the app is not a problem, but I have found that some men are not as good at talking to people and they lack that skill set. So they might have been really good looking. Their profile might have seemed like the written word might have seemed really cool. Like I like their style, whatever I liked about them that made me want to talk to them or respond to them more often. But then we start to talk and it's like crickets. It's
Yeah.
like weird, like the conversation goes nowhere. And so I think there's a lost art of conversation skills
Mhm.
that and I hear the same thing from other men. I don't know, maybe you've experienced it too with women where the conversation just leads nowhere.
I honestly, I've never seen a conversation with a woman go nowhere. I've seen
Oh.
it just end.
Mhm.
And that's usually just somebody on the app ghosting you.
Mm.
There's no response, and every guy on here that's listening probably knows this. They've experienced it, where you'll message, and well, how do you break the ice? It's like a hi, hey, how you doing, something like that. And that's simple, and that's really it. The issues become, from my own experiences and research into this, is that women expect a guy to write a freaking novel,
Hmm.
because you hear this a lot. You'll see, I've seen a lot of women's profiles where they say, if you're just gonna say hi or hey, like, don't even bother. Well, I'm sorry, but if women aren't the ones who are initiating most of these conversations and they're expecting guys to initiate them, well, guys are basically shooting messages darts on a board and hoping one of them sticks. Like, that's really what happens. You're just shooting messages, like profiles, and you're not going to tailor every message into a novel and then go nowhere. That's not going to happen. So, and it's funny because the app Bumble had, they tried to experiment with, because Bumble's whole thing is that women start the conversation. And, well, they were actually complaining to Bumble that this is too hard. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm like, well, welcome to a man's world. You guys expect them to initiate all these conversations, like, welcome to our world, and this is even goes back before apps, right? It's always the guy who's supposed to approach the female. It's always the guy who initiates everything. And with that comes a level of anxiety. Now, that anxiety has been taken out with the apps because you're not really talking to somebody in person. The threat of rejection isn't there. It's not as big as in person. So alleviates that. So you'd think but I found it funny that women were complaining, like, not even sending a message on an app was too hard and too stressful, because they were fearing, like, oh my God, I might get rejected if I message and I don't respond to. So, but with guys, it's they'll shoot those messages, and if I was to tell a woman, I was like, no, like, that's them being interested in you. The reason they message you is because they're interested, and they're trying to. It's a feeler. It's like, hey, do you want to talk or not? Now, you have the choice of ignoring it. You have a choice of saying, hey, what's up? And a lot of times the sad part is that it ends there. Somebody will say hi, the other person will say hey, and then it just ends. And it's almost, it doesn't go anywhere. Or if it goes maybe a few sentences back and forth, and then it ends there. Now, my advice to a guy, move on. That was nothing more than somebody who's bored and just, like, message you at that time, but they're not interested. They're really not. So I wouldn't look at that as, oh, maybe they just haven't gotten back to me. That's BS. Move on. I have my personal thing when I was on the apps was that if I don't hear back or respond, I give you 2 days. If not, I delete you off the match. You're no longer matched with me. I'm not going to keep a running tally of match. What's that?
I do that.
Yeah, it's the sad fact is that a lot of women do use the apps for validation, and they kind of enjoy the fact that, hey, look at all these guys that are, like, talking to me.
Men do that too.
Men do that
Just so
too,
you know.
but not as much as women. No,
How do you know that?
I disagree. I think I still stand by. I think men are the romantics.
You think men are the romantics? And women are not the romantics? Are you kidding me?
Not at all.
Some men are the romantics.
But the what's it called? But it is. Just know that people I'll just give people on these apps do use these things for validation, and that is the toxic part of the apps. But I would say, don't feed that. Just delete, move on. They didn't answer you, and it goes to the BS of, just remember that if somebody wanted to talk to you, they could talk to you. Everybody has this right on them, and they're going through the apps and they see your message. It's not like they didn't see your message. So
totally. Come on.
Oh, they just haven't gotten back. No, you gave them 2 days. They didn't respond. Move on. But to keep back to the conversations, you have to. A problem that I've seen women do this, because I've helped a lot of women. I've talked to them. I said, look, you need to cut this out. And the same with guys. You can't keep the conversation going on these apps. Now, let's say the conversation is good and they are reciprocating, messages are going back and forth. Seal the deal and set up a date. seal the deal and set up the date. You can't keep this. Neither party there is there to be a pen pal. If you're there to be a pen pal, I'm sorry, but you're going to be cut off. Like women are not looking for pen pals. I was never looking for a pen pal. If somebody was just going to keep messaging me back and forth and not set up a date, I'm like, bye. I don't have
I get bored.
Yeah, you get bored. I have no time for that. But here's the thing. You're leaving out all mystery about you. If you reveal everything about you on the app and tell, I'm going to speak from a guy's perspective. If you're a guy and you start telling, because you're trying to impress this girl, right? You want to go out with her, then ask her out, because you'd be surprised how many women get on these apps and they're like, these guys are not asking me out. Like, they're just still talking and they're still asking questions. And like, when are you going to ask me out? So ask them out, set up a date, say, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? Hey, are you free this Sunday? Whatever it is. And set up a date, time, place, and tell her what to wear. Like it's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
Tell me what to wear.
Yeah, tell her what to wear. Like, trust me, women want you to tell them what to wear to where you're taking them.
I mean, I know people are going to be like, tell her what to wear.
Right.
No, don't get your panties in a bunch.
Yeah, right.
It's about being dressed appropriately. It's not about him dictating or controlling what I'm wearing. It's about me wanting to be dressed appropriately. If we're going to go throw axes at a freaking piece of wood, I don't want to be in a gown. Like, you know what I mean?
And so there's been a lot of times when I don't tell my dates where I'm taking them. I say, look, this is what you should wear, and it's going to be a surprise. And so and the thing is, remember, mystery. You're trying to attract this individual, and if you reveal everything about yourself, there's no reason for them to go out with you. Well, you already told me everything about you. Okay, you're in the holding pattern. Let me see if there's anybody better I can look.
Because it's so easy to do, right?
It's so easy. They already know you want to go out with them. They know that. So why the rush? I can just see if there's somebody else better, or maybe better is not the word, but maybe there's another opportunity to go out with somebody else, and I'm more interested in this person. Mm-hmm. People want what they can't have a lot of times, and scarcity is a thing. It's a mental game, and if you they don't know who you are, but now you've intrigued them. They've seen a little bit of you. You've chatted. Now you've asking them out. So get them on that date. And then from date, if they, it's like, it's that line in the movie Hitch. He's like, she could have said no when she said yes, right? Like you've already got her on the date. Like you can only, it's all your fault if you screw it up. Like you already got her there. Like, so like, I mean, you've already won, right? You've gotten this person, or you got the guy to take you out on a date, or you got the girl and she accepted your date offer. Then that's up to you. I mean, whether you screw it up or not, that's on you. But these, when it comes to dating apps, these are strategies that really need to be understood, and stop being a pen pal.
I don't want a pen pal. I mean, and that means not even only on the app. It's like, okay, now we've taken this off the app and we're texting each other. Like, ask for the date sooner than later. And I don't mind if you like want to do a phone call first or a video chat first. I have no problem with that. But you have to progress it. And from a woman's perspective, I expect the man to progress things forward, right? Like to ask me on a date, and then ask me on another date, and then another date. And then eventually we'll come to this agreement where now I'm inviting you to things and you can decide whether you want to come. Like, I'm not saying it should always be him asking, but initially, until there's like sort of an understanding of where we've moved past sort of the talking stage into the seeing each other phase, and we're now seeing each other. And so I'm going to invite you to stuff. You're going to invite me out. Like, and it's kind of like a mutual thing. You said something to me in our chats on our DM chat, and I loved it. and it stuck with me actually, and I have taken that into my, I you know you everybody knows I took a dating break, right? It was
Yeah.
essential. I was fed up with pen pals and ghosters and all of these people, and I felt like if that's what I was attracting, I needed to work on myself, right? So I took a little break to like go within and figure out what was up with me. And I came to the conclusion that I was emotionally unavailable. And so I
Right.
worked on that. And then I decided to get back out there. And I took this piece of advice that you gave me. And
Oh,
I know that
really?
you give a lot of women advice and men, which is why I wanted you to come on here. Because it's not just your experience. You have to share, it's their
Right.
experiences that you can also draw from to help people on this podcast. And so the advice that you gave me, not necessarily advice, I guess, maybe it was a comment that you
Okay.
said. And you said that dating was easy and people complicate it. It's very simple. You meet the person online, you have this conversation, you go out on a date, you enjoy the date, you start to communicate more regularly after the date, and then you go on more dates, and it's easy. It's not a hard thing as everybody says that it
Like,
is.
it's like what I always say, girl likes boy, boy likes girl. It's not that hard. Go out and date. Like, it's not that hard. Yeah, it is simple. Dating is very simple, and people complicate it. People get very much into their heads. And I understand, and it also depends on where you are in your life and what you're facing or recovering from. Like, maybe you just
Mhm.
left a relationship, maybe you're not in the right mindset, so that can affect you. But if your goal, regardless of what, you can't let, I personally think you can't let those things affect you, because if your goal is to meet somebody, then keep it simple. This person doesn't know anything about your issues. Okay, it's a clean slate, and you should be happy that this is a clean slate, because whatever is in your past is in your past. For one night, put that aside and just enjoy a moment with an individual on a date. It should be that simple, but people overcomplicate it, because people go into these dates and they're, one of the first things they do, they may be, if they recently got out of a relationship, they may be comparing them to their old relationship, or looking for red flags, like, oh my god, they might be like my last boyfriend or girlfriend. No, stop. Okay, everybody's unique, everybody's different. You can't let because those things are only going to affect you and hinder you in finding somebody, and you might have just passed up on somebody that's really great for you by doing that. And that's a toxic thing that we do to ourselves, that I'm saying is, cut that shit out. Like, stop what's the word, sabotaging yourself,
Mhm.
in the dating scene. Don't do that. um a lot of the things that I've helped women with, when they ask me, and I do get reached out by a lot of women on this subject, but for me it's been, hey, how do I get the next date, or what am I doing wrong here? Because they'll go out with dates with guys, but it doesn't go too far. Or what am I, um some women don't want to seem like they're too easy. Some women aren't trying to, they're trying to take it too slow. And, like, for example, if what I tell every guy is like, listen, you, first date, if you don't kiss her on the first date, it's done. It's over for you.
For real?
Yeah,
You tell
that's me.
guys that? I
Yeah.
don't kiss
Don't.
anybody on the first date.
That's
Poor
listen.
guys.
No, no, time out. Time out. Time out. I if you're it's okay if the girl doesn't want to kiss you on the date, but you go for it. That's what I'm saying. Now, I've gone out with a girl who, I went and kissed her, and right after she goes, I'd never kiss guys on a first date. I'm like, well, you just kissed me, so there
I
you
did
go.
it one time, and
Right.
I don't do that. Like,
But
I don't do like, you could ask me if you, I just, I'm not, I don't do that. That's crazy. You know how many guys probably were like, dang, she doesn't like me.
it's a thing. Listen, you will know if a girl does not want to kiss you on the first date. And here's the thing, for me, the girls now, I would say if I'm going to put a percentage on it, I'd say 95%. It's a success rate. Like, go for the.
Really?
I've had like out of all the women I dated last year, I maybe three were not like
Right.
like on the first date they just were not even remember, and this doesn't even count the one that said that she doesn't kiss on first date and she ended up kissing me. I was like, no, okay, yeah, whatever you just said was a lie.
You
but
see?
but the three that were not reciprocal in that or kind of put a pause to it or cut it off, that was the end for me. I'm not
Wow.
because
I
to
mean, you're
me
well
that was
within
that
your
was end.
right.
All right, what's that?
You're well within your right to have that
But
as a
but
determining
that's
factor.
me. I mean, I'm not telling people to be like me, but that's me because that for me it's chemistry. It's was this date good enough? If this date wasn't good enough and I wasn't charming enough to you, I don't want to waste my time further. Like I don't want a second date to figure out is she into me? Is she
Wow.
not into me? For me, it's that first date. It's that first date. If that
Really?
goes well, and every girl I've kissed, I've had a second date with. So the except for one maybe. So but on the other end of the thing of the side, so when it comes to women, I say, look, you may not want to move fast. You may not, and I'm not telling women to reach in for the kiss. That's not what I'm saying. But you may not want to reach fast or anything like that. But you need to show some affection. It may
Mhm.
be just, light touching like on the shoulder or something, or something like that shows chemistry because a guy has to have the cues. Um, why did I know? Why was I confident enough to kiss the women that I kissed? Because they were showing me affection. Like you could tell by body language. And if you're not showing, and so a female that I helped recently, I tried to explain to her. I said, you're not even showing any affection. Like, I get that you don't want to move fast, and I'm not telling you to sleep with a guy on the first date. That is not what I'm saying. Okay. But what I am saying is that they need to feel that there is some kind of chemistry there, just like women also want to feel chemistry and affection as well. And if a guy doesn't feel that, it, why would he continue? Like there is nothing there that says or sends the message that you're into me. So I think it's a very important thing that a lot of people miss. Now, for you guys that are confident enough, yeah, go for the kiss. Like, do it. If you want to wait till the second date, that's fine. Now, obviously, there's a right time and place for that. Just gonna kiss someone randomly. But you have to be smart and understand like when that right moment is, and when that right moment hits, if you don't take advantage and move in for that kiss, then you've blown it because you may not get that opportunity again. Now, have I gone out on dates with women where that opportunity just wasn't there? I'm not going to force a kiss because the opportunity just didn't
Mhm.
present itself. It really didn't. So it would have been awkward. But the opportunity is something that is in the guy's hands. You have to create that opportunity by the way the date is set up because the date is in your hands. You're paying for it. You're setting up the date. So
Yeah.
if you set up a date the right way and you set it up to where there's a beginning, middle, and end of the date, you may create that opportunity. If all things go great, if the stars align and it's a great date, then at the end of the date in your goodbyes or whatever, yeah, there can be a kiss there, and you should take advantage of that, and don't be scared of not leaning in, because that again, it goes back to don't waste your time. For a guy, I'm gonna tell him like, don't waste your time. If that kiss is gonna give you everything you need to know, her reaction is gonna give you everything you need to know. If the reaction is, oh, no, I don't want to do that, then maybe she just went out with you for a free meal, and do you really want to
Mm.
waste your time for that?
Cringe.
Right? Or, I mean, that's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Well, I agree on some of those points. I personally am not a first date kisser. So then again, we wouldn't have made it. But like I am a second date kisser and I do have kind of like a method to my madness. I do things a little bit differently. timeline wise, I think, than some women because of just what works and has worked for me in the past. Like, but I always do, I agree with you on this point um, of this, touching and like being affectionate. So I don't just let anybody touch me, right? So I'm very protective of my person. And so when I go out on a date, like there is towards the end of the date, like there should have been, I would say, some light like touching and also body language. Like I'm looking for body language
Yeah.
cues when I'm out, like with a guy's body turned towards me and my desire to be facing him or next to him alerts me to how much I'm interested in that connection. Also, at the end of the date, I'm a hugger. So I will give a nice hug, and the hug will be tighter depending on how much I'm attracted to you and how much I like you, because then you can actually feel more of my body. No tea, no shade.
Yeah.
And it's soft and nice. So I don't just let anybody touch it. Right.
And
So that's kind of how I do things like on the first date. But the second date for me is like, as long as that date goes well and the energy is remained consistent, then definitely there's going to be a first kiss there. I do expect the guy to lean in for it, and I'm going to reciprocate it, and also probably kick it up just a tiny notch too, because that's just my nature. But also, I don't want him to be lecherous when I kick it up a tiny notch, right? And then the third date, I think, is more for like feeling the energy and seeing if like making out is appropriate, because I want to know how passionate a guy is
sure.
before I like really go any further. He has to be able to match my passion level, which is high. And so if that's not an energetic chemistry fit like that, like if it feels
And
like
that's
weak,
important.
then
That's
I
very
can't go
important.
further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your passionate levels have to be matched, because some people are more passionate than others,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a mismatch. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to any ladies that are hearing this, like I'm not saying that if a guy leans in for a kiss, like you have to kiss him. No,
No, you
but
don't.
however, um, don't I would say, if that's not your thing, don't make it awkward or make him feel like, man, I totally screwed up here, like, and then you don't get a second date even though you really wanted a second date with him. So I think the best strategy here would be is, to let him know, hey, I really want to see you again. Like if you say
Mm-hmm.
that, maybe that'll like ease him and say, okay, but she is really interested, but this is just not her thing. But if you make it awkward, and because I'm gonna tell you right now, if a guy's leaning in for a kiss and it fails, like he's like rejection wise, oh my god, the level of like he probably doesn't want to see you ever again, like because he just feels so rejected. But if you let him, like, but let's say you are enjoying this time and this is not your thing, you don't want to do it on first date, okay? You're like, Kia, like I don't kiss on first dates, but you have to let him know that,
I did
hey,
it once.
yeah, like, hey, see, did you like it?
It was all right. It was a nice kiss. It was nice. I didn't do it again because the relationship didn't work out. So it was like, yeah, that we're not doing that again. Yeah.
I think a lot of women don't forget that guys have to really put up with the anxiety of the rejection part, right? And if you're a girl who's really interested in this guy, you got to put him at ease. You got to remind him that, hey, no, I am actually interested in you. Otherwise, it's already hard enough. Like we already talked about, hard enough for guy has to initiate things. For guys has to do this, has to do that. There's a lot there on the guy, and sometimes women, listen, men, we're idiots, so you ladies have to kind of guide the guy to the proper channels there, and help them out. So sorry guys.
No, but I mean, I guess it's kind of true. What would you say to like, I've heard some coaches say that the woman shouldn't initiate things, and that if she does, the guy will lose interest. Like if you let him know you like him too much, then he will lose interest in you and move on.
I think that goes both ways. I think that can affect both people. This goes back to mystery. Affection and showing how much you like somebody, that's great once you've established more into relationship levels. and you've gone further. But in the beginning stages, you don't want to deal all your cards out. Okay. Now, some people will think, oh, well, that's manipulative. I'm just no, stop. That's not what you're doing. Okay. It's not manipulation. You are protecting yourself. One, you're protecting yourself because you don't know whether you truly like this person fully yet or not, because it could be just limerence. Okay. You're still in that beginning phase of, hey, shiny new toy, right? And I want to play, but you don't really know this person. So it's one is protecting yourself from being stupid, okay? And second, you're playing all your cards right on the beginning. You need to leave some of that mystery. And this goes both ways, because guys will lose interest, but girls will lose interest real quick too if they know a guy is fully 100% 0 to 60 day one into them, okay? So for guys, keep that shit to yourself, okay? Now, it's different. Guys fall in love day one, okay? Guys will automatically know, they see a woman, and it's programmed. It's biological. Like, we see a girl, and we're like, we don't even know who she is. We don't know anything about her. All we know is that's it. She's it. She's the one. Girls are different. Women are much different. Women say, yeah, he's all right. And it takes time. They want to get to know you, because women's feelings aren't just based off of looks. Because if you've ever looked at the levels of importance, from like attraction levels, and where looks stand on a guy scale, it's in the top 3. And for women, looks is down in like 6, 5, 6, 7. Like, it's not even in the top 3 of what women are looking for in a guy. So there's different levels of what women are looking for in a guy, and what guys are looking for in a woman. So with that being said, you have to pace yourself, and you've already shown interest by wanting to go on another date. You're continuing to talk to this person. I would say reciprocate. Don't ignore, don't ghost, don't do any of that stuff. Don't play. This is where it comes to games. Don't play the games of, oh, I'm not gonna text her right away, or I'm gonna wait if that's games. Don't do that. I think that's BS. Okay.
Totally.
Somebody messages me, I'm gonna message them back. Okay. But what you don't want to do is over message. Okay. You wanna reciprocate to how much they're messaging you, I would say. And keep it flirty, keep it fun, but don't play all your cards. Okay. You're not gonna, if a guy told a girl, I love you on day one, she's gonna run away fast. So don't do that. And it's the same way. If a girl told a dude she just met, like, oh my God, I like you, I love you, like, let's go make babies, he's gonna run. He's gonna be like, what? You don't barely even know me. So now, I know that's exaggeration, but that over liking, over affection from the beginning can scare the other person away. But
pace
now,
yourself.
once you're in a relationship, yeah, be as loving as you want. Like, that's wanted. People are gonna want that. People are gonna expect that. Like, hey, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. Like, how come you're not loving on me? And especially women. Women are gonna want that. Like, once you're in a relationship with them, they're like, yeah, feed me. Like, feed me all the affection and love and all that stuff.
Totally.
Right?
Do not stop touching me.
Right.
I'm not gonna stop touching
Yeah,
you either.
don't ignore me then.
Yeah. So, okay, that gives me a question for you. So, how many dates to exclusivity? Like, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, for you?
I think that really depends on the people. I would say, so my perspective is different. I've learned my lessons in my life, and I go by the concept that I practice now. I practiced it in this last relationship. I left it as a guy. I leave it to the female. I leave it to her. When she decides, she'll ask, and guess what? She did. Because she asked me, she goes, so when do you want to put a label on this? Like, do you want? And that was my cue when I finally knew that, okay, yeah, she wants this to be real, right? Now, when I'm dating somebody, I'll, now, me personally, I don't like juggling, dating different people more than one person at a time. That's just me. If I'm dating somebody, I'm just dating them. So I'm already, in my mind, I'm already kind of, well, I'm already exclusive. I'm dating you. I don't have the time and patience to date new people. You know, if you're somebody who can date new people one time, because you're not exclusive. Did I just lose my video?
Just for a second,
Oh,
you got
okay.
like all glitchy.
Okay.
There's a glitch in the
Um,
matrix.
I'm not that type of guy. So I was already, in my mind, I was already exclusive with her because that's who I was dating, and I wanted to
Mm.
continue to see where it goes. But I didn't present label. I didn't present official until I just waited for her to say it. And there you go, you're glitching. Um, there you go.
Uh-oh.
You just glitched out.
You're glitching out too.
but my video went out last, and now your video went out. It's so weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's raining over by me.
Oh,
So
okay.
when it's storming, like the Wi-Fi gets like treacherous.
Yeah.
Um, so
So
uh,
what's your opinion on that then?
um okay, so for me, I grew up in Philadelphia, right? And when I was a little girl, it was kind of a thing for a boy to ask you to be his girlfriend. And there was even like a standard phrase they would say, "Could I stand a chance with you?" And then you would say yes or no, and that would um or do I stand a chance with you? And that's what they would say. So for me, guys have always asked me to be their I don't usually ask them that directly, but I do drop hints. There will be signs that I want to be
And
asked that. You know what I mean?
that's another. I mean, if you're getting signs, that's different. I think, um, honestly, it's case by case. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like in my past, my younger years in my 20s, if I was dating somebody, I was the one who would ask, hey,
Mhm.
like, do you want to make this real? Like, are we boyfriend and girlfriend now? But I feel like at this age now, I like the, you know what, I'm gonna leave it up to her, because I'm more in the, if she wants this to be real, then let's make it real. If not, I'm also content with it being whatever it is. But that's also where you are in your life. Now, I
Yeah.
was indifferent. Like I was ready because I enjoyed I was already enjoying my time. I was already dating her. I was the one who's initiating all the
Mhm.
dates. I'm the one who's taking her out. So obviously, I want to continue dating you. Um, but I think it made me it's a good feeling when you're asked, when as a guy, when you're putting in all that effort and you're going above and beyond, and you're initiating dates, and you're doing this, and you're doing the dating thing. Now it's maybe 2 months has passed, maybe 3 months has passed, and all that effort, and you finally get told, hey, like, do you want to make this real? Like it's a nice feeling. And I basically what I'm saying is, to women out there, don't be afraid to take that initiative. And I think this is something that's sad, is like, guys guys also like being chased once in a while. Guys need that. And it's always the burden on the guys to
Interesting.
initiate and chase and stuff, but once in a while, like, make them feel wanted as well, because in the end, it's like, if a guy's asking, it's like, well, he's been doing all this work, and now he's like, oh, fuck, okay, like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Like, are we there yet? like, so it's nicer to hear that. The other thing is that, there's, and I've talked to you, I think I've told you this before, but one of the biggest reasons why a lot of guys don't approach women in today's world, and there's countless YouTube videos about women complaining about, where are the men, how come they're not approaching me, well, you scared them all off. Okay,
Ooh.
collectively, women have scared them off. And men, I don't blame this, I don't blame men for being scared of that. Nobody wants to approach and be rejected. The rejection's already hard enough, but now in today's world, it comes with at least the perception that has been made. I'm not saying this is how it is in reality, but this is how it's perceived. A lot of guys are like, well, why do I bother with this? Like, if I go approach a female and I may be rejected, but I may also be humiliated. I may end up being on a TikTok video or something like that, being humiliated, all because she wasn't attracted to me. And
It's
that's
true.
really harsh. Whereas a guy, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how unattractive you are to that gentleman that you're asking out. I it's hard for me to believe that any guy out there would not still be flattered that a woman took the time to come approach them. Like if a woman approached me, any woman that's ever approached me, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like I may have not like been interested, but it's such a nice feeling because it's such a rare thing. It's so rare for a guy to be asked out or be approached and be flirted with. That's something that it's so rare that I tell women, take advantage of that. Like it's okay. It's 2025. Go if you find a guy that you are interested in, then go for it. Okay, go for it because he may just sorry, but it is 2025, and I know we are all like, well, isn't it that the guy's idea? But if there's no hints, if there's nothing there, and guys, we don't know what hints to take. We've talked about this before. In the old days, it was if a female was interested in a guy, she would probably drop her handkerchief. There was a signal, right? There was a signal that says, "Hey, come pick this up, idiot. I want to talk to you." So, and then the guy would go there and pick up the handkerchief and talk to her, and that's how she gave that signal that, hey, I would like you to come initiate a conversation with me because I'm interested in you. We don't have that today. Once upon a time, before apps and everything, it was if a girl was looking your way and she was making eye contact with you, it's like, hey, ding ding, she's interested in you. That's her telling you to come talk to her. These days, every guy's like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, so what, she's looking at me like I don't know what that means. Like, and that's because society has created this environment where we don't know what to take. Like we can't assume anymore. And sadly, no guy wants to be like, looked at as somebody who's harassing a girl or something. And
No.
oh, I didn't look at you that way, this way. It's like guys are just so done with it. And that's why guys have checked out of dating. A lot of guys have checked out, sadly. And this is on a collective scale. Now, I've been, and this is just, again, YouTube channels and channels just full of interviews with women or women having TikTok videos complaining, where are the men? They're not at the bars. They're not at the clubs. They're not at like all these places.
They don't approach you in person anymore.
I swear to God, there's a video a couple days ago saying men are checking out of the gym completely. They're not even going to the gym anymore because they just don't want to be around women at the gym.
That's crazy.
No, I don't know how exaggerated that was. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
The headline of the video. I didn't watch the video, but I thought that was hilarious. I was like, wow, like that's how checked out they are. And it's kind of sad that we've created this and this environment. And yeah, do I wish we could go back to that? And hopefully things will change over the next decade, and maybe we'll revert back to
I think we will actually.
Because I do know that people are getting sick and tired of the apps.
Mhm.
I do know that there is a thing where people are checking out of those apps completely because they're frustrated with them. However, I will say that as frustrating as those apps are, if you are on it and you are looking for a relationship, like don't give up, but just be smart. Like understand and navigate it correctly. Again, and then also know, like, I'm sorry guys, but like be smart. Some of these profiles, like if you can't tell they're fake, like I'm sorry, but like I feel bad for you. If you can't,
need help.
Like you need help. Like some of them are very
Don't
fake.
do it alone.
They're not
you need a friend.
realistic. They're just not realistic.
Mhm.
The giveaways are the ones that have like there's no face. It's just the body, like in their pictures. Now, if the picture's pixelated, yeah, there's pictures. There's profiles with the pictures of it's always a female, but it's always from her back. Like it's always, or if it's from her front, she's covering her face by something. And
what?
Yeah, automatically fake. That's a fake profile. If
So different for women.
If the pictures are pixelated, like you could tell that they just snatched it off the internet and added it on there, that's a fake profile.
For us, if it's like a guy looks like he came off a magazine cover, like the pictures are all professional or they look all like a magazine, Girl,
If they
run.
all look professional, model like, then yeah, they're not. So
Yeah.
my biggest thing was whenever. So I have a way of screening fake, because some of them are really good. Some look very real.
Yeah,
I have a
totally.
way of screening it, and my way of screening, my tip is, where do you live? And a
That's a
lot of
good one.
times they don't know what to say, or if they're smart enough to know that, for example, like I'm in Oregon. I'm like, well, where do you live? Like, what part of Oregon?
Or they'll be like, I'm not there right now,
Right.
but I'm moving there
Yeah,
soon.
that's
Or I'm
BS.
like,
That's
get
BS.
out of here.
But
Why does it
but
say you're
but you
from
can
North
be, yeah,
Portland?
but you can be specific, right? Because those apps usually your settings are within miles of where you live,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And so for me, if I matched you and you're saying that you're in Hillsboro, Oregon, that's within like 10 miles of my radius, well, I'm going to ask you, well, what part of Hillsboro do you live in? If they say I live in Hillsboro, I'm like, well, what part do you live in? Like where, like, and that usually ends in 99% of the time when I've asked that, they just delete me off the match. And that tells me right away that that is a fake profile, because they can't keep up the facade. They know that I'm onto them. They know that they can't answer that,
Yeah.
and they know that. So that's what I always ask is, where do you live? I'm not asking for your address. Like, no, I'm asking like, what part of town do you live? Like, where in Portland do you live? Where, near what, and they can't give you those landmarks because they're not from here. It's a
Yeah.
fake profile. So don't fall for the Nigerian prince on the apps.
Totally.
So don't do that. Um,
Yeah.
and the other thing is that, ladies, I know that guys are really bad at the whole texting, and they are bad. I would say, if you're chatting a few times and you're frustrated, you're like, okay, is this guy going to ask me or not? I don't want to waste my time. I would just drop it with, so do you plan on taking me out or what? Just say that.
Ooh.
Yeah, just drop that. Drop it in there. Why not? Like, are you going to take me out or not? Because one, you're showing like, don't waste my time. Okay. And for a guy, if that's not a enough hint, then you need help. Okay. Like, I don't know how much more hints
That's
we need than
direct.
that. Like, dude, that's pretty direct. Like, are you going to take me out or not? So I would definitely, for women, that's what I would tell them. I'd say, are you going to take me out or not? Don't let and this is post the whole dating thing. A guy goes out with you, and this is coming. What I'm about to say is coming from women that have approached me with this, and women who've gone out on a date. They felt went well. The guy's interested, says, I want to go out on another date, and then a month passes by and they still haven't gone out on another date. A month and a half has passed by and they still haven't gone on a date, but they're still messaging, they're still texting, so
Not
they're
me.
still in communication. And my first thing is, listen, it goes back to, are you pen pals or not? Like, why are you allowing that? Because to the women that are falling for this, I say, look, go back to what I just said. Are you going to take me out or not? You have to set that. If not, then okay, like, let's end it here. But you don't want to end up being that guy's pen pal.
No.
Sometimes there are guys and girls who are just lonely and just honestly, they just want to have somebody to chat with. And that's great and all, but that's not what your purpose on these apps are for. You're looking to date, you're looking to have a relationship, you're looking to work towards that. And it goes back to the whole mystery thing. If you're constantly talking to that guy, and this is what I coached one girl on. I'm not a dating coach, by the way, but I coached a girl on, and it worked, and it helped her. And I said, listen, if you're constantly talking to this guy, what reason does he have to take you out? He knows everything about you. You tell him about your day. You tell him about everything. He's got zero reason to take you out. He's probably taking out somebody else because he already knows everything about you. And he knows that you're now a backup. In case thing doesn't work out with another girl, well, this girl's been talking to me, and like, I can probably take her out anytime I want because she's interested in me and she's still there talking to me. So don't be that girl. Okay? If the guy's not taking you out and continuing to take you out, then cut it off. Or maybe not cut it off, but like, what I'm saying is end the conversation until he takes you out. Like, because you don't owe him those conversations. You're not there to be a pen pal. Okay, keep it simple. Don't reciprocate. Um, don't be reaching out overly. And this is the same thing goes to the guy. If a girl is not responding, reciprocating those responses, and I'm not saying like she has to message you, like right that second, but if
Right.
there's no reciprocating messages, or there's just one word messages, there's not much substance to it, that is a cue that she's just not interested. She really isn't. And her saying that, oh yeah, let's go out again or something like that, that has become more of, she just doesn't know how to put you down. And sadly, it's hard for women. Women don't understand this. Women feel like, oh, I can't do that to him. Like I don't want to. They feel like they're sparing a guy's feelings by not just being direct and just saying, look, I'm not interested. I really am not. Um, and so they'll play this thing where the guy is actually losing hope. Like he's like, or he's staying hopeful, right? Like, oh wait, she's still talking to me. I mean, she's still responding. Like she must be interested in me. No, 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 no. She's not. If she's saying, if you're writing her a few sentences or asking her a question and she just answers with one word and doesn't really care and doesn't get back to you, yeah, she's not interested. Move on, move on. Don't, and when I say move on, you don't have to be harsh, you don't have to be mean or anything. Just move on. If they decide to later message you or something, well, be like, okay, you want to go out now? Like, simple as that.
I love that. You made a lot of really good points there. I mean, can you believe we've been chatting for an hour and 10 minutes?
Oh, wow.
Like, it's crazy. The time just goes by so
Yeah.
fast when you're having fun. So, I'm going to wrap it up. But before I do, I want to say that you made so many good points, like so many. So many. I mean, I think the pen pals thing is a huge takeaway. Do not be that and do not like waste your time. We started this whole conversation with that topic, like of time being the most precious thing you have. And I think it's important not to waste people's and not to have yours be wasted and to have really firm boundaries around that, whether you're male or female. And because certainly women will waste your time too, definitely. And I had a friend tell me he was talking to a girl and it would be like a week in between her responses. I said, why are you still talking to her? Like, I don't understand that. Like, she's not interested or she's not that interested. So if you're not that interested either, and it's like maybe cool if it works out and maybe cool if it doesn't, then cool. But if you're like really dating with intention, then that's a time waster. Right. And I have met certain men who are resurfacers too, like meaning that they will come and they will like, we'll start chatting and then we'll before they invite me out, they'll like disappear or the conversation will sort of fizzle out and I'll just like move on with my life. And then they come back around some months later, like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, what are you doing? It's there's so much out there to be aware of. And it's certainly not easy, but I think you can meet people online. It is absolutely possible. One of my first episodes was about mindset, and it's if you think you can, you're right, and if you think you can't, you're right. And it's about, I think I've said a few times, like you have to kiss a lot of frogs. Sometimes, not literally, because obviously I don't kiss people on the first date, but like you have to like meet people and talk to them and connect with them and see. And sometimes it's like happens on the app and it never gets off the app. Sometimes you might go on a date or two. I've gone on a few dates with people and it just never gets past like the fourth or fifth date. You know what I mean? And it never materializes into anything else. And you just have to go, okay, well, if I'm frustrated by the experience, take a break, regroup, get back out there because it is really possible. I mean, look at you. Now, I happen to meet your girlfriend and she is absolutely lovely and you guys are happy. So that gives me a lot of hope and it should give a lot of people hope that it is possible to meet someone.
I'd like
I
to
have
add something to that.
Yeah.
all the women I dated last year, when it came to when it finally came to Audrey's date, my girlfriend's date, honestly, when I went on that date, I wasn't thinking much of it. I really was
Wow.
like, all right, here we go. Let's just go on a date. Like I didn't go into it with much thought or care, honestly. Now, every one of my dates is curated. Like I do put an effort in that. So I don't want to say I didn't put an effort. I did put an
For
effort.
sure.
However, my mindset wasn't. I was like, whatever. Okay, even and as is bad to say, but I just didn't even care much. Like I wasn't that into like,
He
okay, like
cared,
I can't
Audrey.
wait. I can't wait to go out with this girl. However, I went on that date and I was like, wow, I really like this girl. Like she's great. So
Oh,
what I want to leave people with is that if you have an opportunity to go on a date, go for it. Okay, and that's what I did. That's what I was doing is I was taking every opportunity for a date because for me it was every opportunity was I was meeting somebody. I was meeting somebody new and I learned something new. And you do need to practice. Your date may not be great. Your next three, I mean, if you haven't been on a lot
that's
of
a good
dates,
point.
your first 3, 4 dates may be bad. And yes, it's sad because you might have just blown it with some people that you might have been really interested in,
Yeah.
but at least take it as practice. You've learned something
Hmm.
new. And so with me dating a lot of these women, I learned a lot of things. I learned things where like, oh wait, I definitely don't want to date your type, or I learned that oh wow, we're definitely not compatible. Like I can't do
Hmm.
this with you, because I know I went out with a girl for a month and I was just like, whoa, yeah, this ain't not gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
so it's take it as a learning opportunity, use that as a fun time to meet somebody new. Learning it betters you as a person. You're evolving as a person, and in the off chance that it turns out such a great date and it continues and evolves, like for example with me and Audrey, then why not? But that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone out on that date. So
Yeah. It's true. I agree with you. I think that you just have to make good experiences. Like I have this perspective of, you know what? I'm going to go out on a nice lunch. I'm going to go out on a nice dinner. I'm going to talk to someone. I'm going to go have a coffee. I never used to do coffee dates, but I did one recently and it wasn't bad. It was nice actually. And I really felt like creating these experiences has been really beneficial for my skill set. It's a skill set dating, right? It's been a good learning experience to create amazing experiences with people, whether they go further or they don't. Um, just really screening the people you're going to give your time to, and then making a good experience. And if it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. And I think one thing I would say to women too, and men really, is if you feel frustrated and the connection, like it feels frustrating to you and
yeah,
it's really early in it, like whether it's the communication or the way how often you're going on dates or what the dates are, whatever it is that's making you feel frustrated or anxious or whatever that feeling is, other than like happy and excited and like, a good feeling, then it's probably not the right person for you. And to remember that, like, being rejected or rejecting someone is actually protection. Rejection is protection. And also, being rejected or rejecting someone is also a skill set. So it's really important to get good at those things. And I think online dating can help you in that regard to get really good at rejecting people and not ghosting. Don't ghost people. Only assholes ghost people.
yeah.
So don't be
Yeah,
like,
don't ghost people. If you're not feeling it, it's a simple. Now sometimes things just fizzle out naturally, and I've had a lot of
mhm.
that where it just fizzles out. We're both kind of you can tell
That's
that it's
called
a
a soft
mutual.
ghosting.
Yeah, it's a but it's a but you can tell it's mutual.
Yeah, it
Like
just
we're
falls
mutually
off.
just not interested.
Mhm.
Okay, but if you feel like the other person is fully interested and you're not, like don't leave them. Like like learn how to reject somebody
Mhm. It's
um
weak.
with strategy, I guess, with tact,
With tact
yeah,
and diplomacy and
right,
compassion.
yeah.
Actually, so I was dating these 2 guys. I do multiple date, but to an extent. Like, I don't go past a couple of dates with 2 people before I decide who I'm gonna date, right? And I was dating this one guy, and he told me that he didn't feel like dating me was sustainable.
I remember you telling me.
And I thought that was amazing. Like, I was not like thrilled because, rejection always stings a little bit. It doesn't matter who you are, but like, I understood that he was a simple guy. I'm a very fancy woman.
I've
And
had
he,
that. I've had that same
you know,
thing. I've had a female tell me, look, like we're not compatible. You like really nice things, and you like to go out and you like
yeah.
to dress up, I'm just very simple, and like just
Hmm.
we didn't jive. And yeah, it sucked because I was really interested. I wasn't like,
Yeah. I
I
was a
wasn't
little bit
forcing her to wear
interested.
it, but you can sometimes that can be intimidating, and
Hmm.
it's okay, but she at least explained that to me. She didn't just ghost me, and that's the point I'm trying to say is that
Yes.
it's okay to tell somebody, hey, look, I feel like we're not compatible. And guys, we definitely appreciate that. Like, hey, if you tell, because nobody wants to feel left out. Like, what happened? Like, why am I just being ghosted? Like,
It's
it sucks.
so rude. It's not an unnecessary. Like, it is a skill. Like, you know, you know, it's like get a pair, you know,
Yeah. But
get
it's
a
understandable. I
get
mean,
a
we're all
pair,
human
pick me
beings.
up.
We
Like,
understand if we're not compatible. Like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings by saying, "Hey, look,
yeah.
I don't think we're right for each other." I'm like, okay, well, if you feel that way, then okay, I definitely don't want to be with you if you don't feel like you're
Yeah,
right for
like,
me.
if it's not mutual. I mean, also, he was like, "You like to do stuff, and I don't like to do." And I was like, "Okay." Like, I okay, well, but good though, because you know why? Because it's important to, like, I want the person that I'm with to want to be with me.
Right.
And even though we had good chemistry and he was really a kind person, I was really pleased that he was honest with me, and I didn't know if it was going to work out, and I was a little concerned. I actually was relieved that I didn't actually have to reject him in a way. So, because I hate to do it, although I will do it. But like, it worked out really well for me with that situation, and I think it's really a useful skill to grow. And I just don't think it's right for good. There are some cases I think disrespect. You can go someone if they disrespect you, but like if they're being disrespectful. But um there are certain circumstances in my opinion where you can do it, and I made a whole episode about it, so you can go back and watch that one. But like, definitely I agree with you. And also, you made a really good point about appreciation and men feeling really underappreciated. And I wanted to say this, but I didn't want to interrupt you at the time. It was that women, I'm speaking to my girls here, women, we know what it's like to be underappreciated, especially if you have been a wife and mother traditionally, or a stay home mom. Like, that feeling. And so I know it feels a little weird in your tummy when a guy tells you that men feel underappreciated and feel taken for granted because we think we own that, but we don't. And the fact of the matter is, there is a lot of men who are poorly treated by women, abused, and in toxic connections with women, um, and just basically underappreciated by women in general. And I think it is really important that when he takes you out on a really nice date, that you thank him and tell him how great it was and how it made you feel, because that will go a really long way. That appreciation does fly. And I'm not saying that I don't ever tell a guy, take the initiative with a guy. I do at some points, but and definitely not in the initial phases of the relationship. But like I said, I drop a lot of hints. I make it very clear what I want, even if it's like in a way that helps me to feel like I'm maintaining my feminine energy. So no one here is saying you need to like go into your masculine, and no one's here telling you that, there's beta men in you need to be with a beta male and like a feminine man or anything, unless that's your thing, because sometimes that can work. If you're a really masculine woman, maybe you should date a more feminine man. Like, just go for it. You might be really happy with that. But like,
Oh, that's a time for another topic.
well, next time, next time, next time. But like, but the fact of the matter is, like, I think it's important um to 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 go into the connection and then give those hints and those signals that you do like him, that you want things to continue, that you want to see him again, that you're appreciative of the things that he's doing for you, because he is spending money on you, and sometimes quite a lot in my case. So like, it's like so it's really important to at least appreciate him. And as a woman who has been a trophy wife in my past, so I'm speaking to all of you other girls, you know who you are, who are in more transactional relationships. I'm not that mine was necessarily that way. It just ended up that I ended up in that situation. And you already know that your man is very busy, and he's providing for you 100%, and you are just looking pretty and feeling good about yourself, right? Appreciate him for that, even like as much, and that's really important, because I do think that men really do lack appreciation and affection. And I think, because especially because they weren't raised with a lot of times with a lot of that touchy feely affection. So yeah, or maybe they did get it from their mother, but they haven't gotten it from a lot of women. You know what I mean? So I think that's really important, and that's why you'll notice a lot of guys will have on their profile physical touch is really important to them. It just, word to the wise, it doesn't only mean sex. So it can sometimes mean just physical touch and affection. So those are things to
Well,
keep
the
in
reason I
mind.
brought that up originally is you'd be surprised how many dates I've been on where I didn't even get a thank you. And that's yeah, it's crazy. It's like not even, like, you didn't
Mind-boggling
even
to
say
me.
thank you. And now, don't get me wrong, majority have. I'm not
Rude.
here saying like 99% of women will always say thank you. But it's surprising when I've gone on those dates where it's like, you didn't, like, not even a thank you. Like, wow, like, it's a and this is and you don't even have to be interested in going out with that person again, but that person did still take you out, still put in the effort.
Yeah.
Thank you goes a long way, um, because not even hearing a thank you, you're telling him that, wow, like, you really sucked at this date, like, you don't even get a thank you. That's what you're sending a message, and
You
you're
know,
saying yeah.
I was gonna say, if I was a guy and I took a woman out on a date, and let's say, I will say this though, I am a woman of the 90s, and in the 90s we took men out on dates. We asked men out. That was what was the trends. And it was like, you were more empowered as a woman. That was the feminist movement back then, by the way. You were more empowered as a woman if you went up and asked a guy out, and you went out and you paid and all of that stuff. So I have experienced that, and so I kind of know what it feels like. And I feel like if you didn't say thank you to me, I will never see you again. You are not quality. You are low rate. Poor quality,
But
and I will not go out with you again. That was the message that I would receive from a person that I took out, and they didn't show gratitude. Gratitude is key. It's the highest frequency. So that's something to keep in mind.
and sorry, I know we're a little past time. I wanted to just add a little thing on the touching. Again, this doesn't, yeah, it doesn't mean like sex on the first night or anything like that. But you, the dates that I've been on where a woman, so guys, we've been kind of conditioned. We ain't touching. I ain't touching you. Okay, I'm not touching you. So it's really up to the female. And if you're a woman who is really interested in this guy and you don't want to blow it with this guy, like, the touching is very important. And what a perfect example would be one of my most favorite dates. One of my most favorite dates last year was this girl I went out with, and right when I picked her up, right away she just clung to my arms, just held my arms as we were walking downtown, and it was just like, to me, it was such a good feeling. as a guy,
Aw.
it's a great feeling. Like this girl feels comfortable enough. One, you're showing him that you're comfortable with this guy. Okay, now that's different. I mean, you may not feel comfortable with this person yet,
Mhm.
but that message was sent to me. Like this woman's, one, she's interested in me. Two, she feels safe with me. Those are the signals that a guy gets. So you wanna send those signals to a guy if you're the woman who definitely wants to get into bed with him that night, then yeah, definitely send those signals. Okay? Okay? Now, you don't have to finish it off that way, but at least now he knows that you're interested. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, she just came up and grabbed your arms. I'm sure she did.
Wait, what do you
But
mean?
like,
Sure she did. You said yes, not.
no, I'm just
Oh.
not at all. No, the girls get it. But anyway, so my point is this. All right. Like, I am really awkward when I first start going out with a guy. So, this is probably why a lot of my dates didn't work out. I learned something today because I'm super shy. You don't think I'm shy, but I'm very shy and very reserved, right? When I go out with a guy that I'm actually interested in. And so that is why I don't kiss on the first date because I feel really awkward. And so, and shy, right? It takes me a little time to warm up. But the thing is like once I am warm, everybody's in trouble. So like it's a problem, right? It could be a problem. It depends on the person. But like, and I think I want to say that. So just because a woman doesn't necessarily, she's not all on you in the beginning, doesn't mean that she won't be,
One
you
hundred
know,
percent, one
right?
hundred percent, 100%. I am. I agree with you 100%. The shyness is a big thing, but I would say that now, if it's two people that are shy, then we got bigger problems.
Yeah, it's probably
But
not going to get off
but
the
it,
ground.
but if either the female or the male here, if you can read the room and know that
Mhm.
the person that you're going out with is shy, then I think it's your job to kind of break them out of that shell and make it kind of comfortable. That's going to be your job. Now, that's how I feel. If I go out with a girl who's shy, I want to break her out of her shell. And the way you do that is by creating a comfortable atmosphere, being very lighthearted, just
Be charming.
be charming, making her feel comfortable, because that's
Mhm.
where people really break out of their shy shell once they feel comfortable
Yeah.
with you and they feel like, okay, I can joke with this person or I can come out of that shell. So just read the room, but that's really going to be on the person who the non-shy person
Yeah.
to do that.
You got to be charming. That's why there's the saying charm the pants off somebody, right? Like you got to be charming, right? And then you put someone at ease. And then once the person is at ease, it becomes easier, right? But a lot of times people just can't even get off the app. So I hope today that we have given a lot of like useful tips, do's and don'ts. I kept my promise that we were going to give do's and don'ts and tips to how to be successful on the apps. Now, I hope that there'll come a time where we will go out and people will approach each other again. But who knows? Like, I think it's going to come back around to where it's a bit of both. But let's face it, more people are getting married on apps than anywhere else now. So that's where the action is happening. So you're going to have to bite the bullet on this one and put yourself out there and follow these tips that we gave you today. I hope you like them and be successful because you can find someone awesome like Audrey or like this person that I started seeing.
Oh, there's still
So,
a secret, huh? You're not gonna tell us? Okay.
well, I am absolutely dating someone. It is in the dating phase. We
Congrats.
have been on
Congrats.
several dates and I like him. So if he sees this, he will know for sure. He already knows. I told him, hi, how about that? So like, but yeah, it's very lovely and very cool. And I met him online and it progressed very nicely. And you know what I said earlier about what I remembered that you told me? It was very easy. It just flowed.
Yeah.
Because when two people are there's an attraction and it progresses in a nice way. It's easy.
Yeah.
So that's today's episode. So, Fouad, I want to thank you so much for coming on to Hot Topics Live
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
I hope you're going to come back.
I will. if you let me
All
know.
right. Okay, good. Well, for now, I am going to put you in the green room. But is there anything else you want to say before we part ways?
No, that's everything. And yeah, again, I appreciate it. And everybody have a good night. Thank you.
Well, I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
If you have to go, I understand. But if not, stick around and I'll come say a proper goodbye in just a minute.
Will do.
Okay, bye. So, how cute is he? He's adorable, right? You can tell I'm very fond of him. And I'm also very fond of his girlfriend. So, don't get it twisted. I really like her. And also, I'm a girl's girl. I respect women. So, that was fun, and I loved having him on here, and you know what? I hope he'll come back and we'll talk some more, and I hope you got some value from this because it was really important to me to have a male perspective on here. You can see that we don't agree with everything totally. We don't do everything the same way. Our approach is similar but different, but he's a man and I'm a woman. So, I thought I'd pop on here because you guys know the last episode I was frustrated, but I took that time. That break worked, and I worked on myself a little bit. And, you know, it's happening. I'll keep you posted. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? It might fall off, it might whatever. But the fact of the matter is that maybe you're going to meet someone and you date a couple times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Maybe it'll be a girlfriend for a few months. I'm not saying you're going to meet your husband or wife, but maybe you will. The point is not to be afraid to put yourself out there and to start figuring out, take some of these tips and strategies and put them in practice and just go have fun, because dating is supposed to be fun. It really is. And when we get all sour and negative about it, it really takes all the fun and joy out of it. So go have fun. And I want to thank my sponsor, Eris Health, for sponsoring this episode. Go and follow Eris Health on Instagram. She's building a mental health app that is going to just change the game. It's not ready yet. It's just getting started. So you can go get in there and support a really good company with a really good mission. And that way you will know exactly when it's available if you want to sign up. It's going to have so much really good, helpful content for all types of people who are suffering with any types of depression, anxiety, PTSD, even. So my veteran brothers and sisters, right? And complex PTSD, and so much content to support that. So thank you for Eris Health for supporting this episode and sponsoring Hot Topics Live podcast, Dating After Divorce, another episode. And also, you know what to do if you want to follow me, right? You can go to Hot Topics Live podcast and follow me over there on Instagram, or I'm on all these places. So go and support your girl if you like pretty pictures and you like pinup. This is me. This was my last cover. I just did a new photo shoot. I am going to be dropping some sneak peeks of that and some more content regarding my new issues that I've been in on my Instagram at Creativity. So you can see that there. So like I said, at Creativity, and make sure you subscribe, like, share with someone who might need this information, and definitely watch the episode, watch it again and again and again, because you love Fouad. So he'll be back, I promise. But for now, this has been a long one, so I'm going to wrap it up, and I will see you next time. I love you guys. Bye for now.